Underneath the tablecloth, your phone screen lights up with a quiet notification. Your investment account just officially crossed $1 million. You look up Smile Perfectly and say, "It pays the rent, Auntie." Why lie? Because the truth costs too much. There are 8 silent moments when you realize keeping your wealth a secret is the only way to protect your family. And moment number 6 will completely change how you look at blood ties forever. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you actually told them the truth right now? You think they would just be happy. But the congratulations would last exactly 5 minutes before the expectations silently shifted. Every future dinner, every holiday, every family emergency would suddenly have your name attached to it as the default bank account. They think money is for showing off. But you've spent the last 5 years quietly building what the wealthy call FU money. Not to buy a yacht, not to tell your boss to shove it, but to build a completely invisible, bulletproof emotional shield. 3 years ago, you would have bought a designer shirt just for this dinner, terrified they would think you were failing in life. Now, you wear a plain, unbranded sweater and sit in comfortable silence. You simply do not need their applause anymore. You realize the greatest luxury wealth buys isn't an expensive car to impress your aunt. It is the ability to protect your peace. Money talks, but real wealth whispers. And right now, your silence is the loudest, most powerful force in the room. That is the first moment. But the second moment hits when the successful cousin finally walks through the front door. A $2,000 watch. A designer logo visible from across the dining room. Marcus takes his seat like he owns the place. You think you're looking at a deeply successful man. But you are actually looking at a masterclass in the halo effect of fake wealth. 3 years ago, sitting next to him made you feel entirely left behind. Now, you just watch him perform feeling perfectly safe. You do not make elaborate excuses. You simply state that you do not have it. The disappointment on her face stings for exactly 1 second. The societal pressure to be the savior is incredibly heavy. Have you ever calculated the true invisible cost of being the default family bank? It is called the opportunity cost of emotional spending. Every dollar given out of guilt is a brick removed from your fortress. Not because helping family is inherently wrong. Not because you do not care. But because financial boundaries are absolute survival. 1 single yes today guarantees 100 new demands tomorrow. You think hiding wealth makes you selfish. But it actually prevents your relationships from turning into a toxic transactional nightmare. Because they truly believe you are broke, the conversation smoothly moves on. They stop looking at you. A quiet sigh of relief washes over you. Your secret $1 million just bought you the ultimate priceless luxury. Not a private jet, not a beachfront mansion, but the invisible, unbreakable privilege of being completely left alone. True freedom is the right to say no without ever having to prove why. That is the third sign. But the fourth moment hits when living 2 entirely different lives starts to isolate you. You think keeping a secret is just about hiding your bank balance, but it is actually about hiding your absolute, unbothered freedom. Monday morning at the office. Everyone around you is loudly complaining about inflation, gas prices, and the endless rat race. To blend in, you have to nod. You have to force a tired sigh and pretend you are trapped right there with them. This is the heavy psychological cost of stealth wealth. The intense social comparison game requires you to play a character you outgrew. Living 2 entirely different lives makes you feel like an alien observing humanity. It is deeply, quietly isolating. Your phone lights up with a family group chat notification. Marcus is sending a long paragraph complaining about the terrible economy. Right above his complaint, a photo of his brand new luxury lease parked outside a ridiculously expensive downtown restaurant. But behind that glossy photo, the dark, heavy shadow of consumer debt has grown massive, practically swallowing him whole. He is completely trapped, forced to maintain a flawless illusion of success while secretly drowning in payments he cannot afford. If you revealed your secret, they would drag you right back into that exact same toxic cycle of comparison. This isolation is what experts call financial unlearning, stripping away the deep societal need for external validation from your peers. You realize you do not need them to understand your quiet life because they do not have to live it. You lock your phone screen, letting the noise of their complaints fade into the background. The solitude is beautiful. The crowd offers applause, but silence offers peace. And you have officially chosen peace. That is the fourth sign. But the fifth moment hits when a real crisis strikes, and your fake poverty becomes your greatest shield. A single red arrow pointing down. That is all it takes to completely shatter the illusion of the middle class. Rumors of massive layoffs spread through the office like wildfire. Suddenly, everyone around you is absolutely terrified of losing their paycheck. The manager with the $80,000 car is visibly sweating. His expensive lifestyle requires a massive monthly payment to simply survive. This is the brutal reality of lifestyle inflation. Building a life so incredibly expensive that a single missed paycheck means total collapse. But you sit there, quietly, sipping your coffee, watching the panic unfold around you with a complete and unshakable calm. You are fully protected by what financial experts call the 4% rule, an invisible mathematical fortress built around your life. Because you secretly saved $1 million, you can withdraw $40,000 every single year indefinitely without ever working again. You do not want to quit your job. But knowing that you could get fired today and still be perfectly fine changes everything. Meanwhile, your cousin Marcus is quietly deleting his flashy vacation photos, desperately trying to sell his designer watch online to make rent. That is the painful difference between the leverage of assets and the leverage of debt when the economic storm finally hits. While they are desperately trying to survive the storm, you are comfortably sitting inside, completely untouched by the financial chaos. Not because you are smarter, not because you are lucky, but because you prepared for the winter while they partied in the summer. True wealth is simply the invisible ability to sit quietly in a room while the rest of the world panics. That is the fifth sign. You have successfully bought your own peace of mind, and it is worth every single penny. But the sixth moment hits when the exact same people who mocked your plain clothes suddenly start asking you for financial advice. The next family holiday. Your aunt who once completely ignored you suddenly pulls you aside into a quiet hallway. She lowers her voice. She does not ask about your plain sweater this time. She asks what stocks you are buying. The dynamic has completely shifted. Without you ever showing a bank statement, your quiet stability has somehow started to leak out. It is called the wealth paradox. The people who talk the loudest about money are usually the ones drowning in debt. And the ones who say absolutely nothing are the ones everyone slowly realizes are actually winning the entire game. 3 years ago, you would have eagerly shared your entire portfolio. You would have tried to prove your intelligence. But now you see the trap. If you give them advice, you become responsible for their emotional roller coaster. If the market drops, it is suddenly your fault. Your peaceful, quiet life would be dragged right back into their chaos. They do not want to hear that you spent 5 years buying incredibly boring index funds and living far below your means. They want a secret trick, a magical shortcut to instantly fix the heavy lifestyle inflation they built for themselves. You watch her lose interest and walk away. And you feel an immense, profound sense of relief. You realize you no longer need to be the smartest person in the room. You only need to be the freest. That is the sixth sign. You finally achieve a quiet respect, completely detached from their external validation. But the seventh moment hits when you realize your entire mindset about what money is actually for has drastically, permanently changed. You think the ultimate goal of money is to buy expensive things, but it is actually to buy back your own life. For years, you traded the best hours of your day just to survive, completely dreading the harsh sound of the morning alarm. Now you can wake up on a random Tuesday morning, turn off the alarm, and decide exactly what happens next. It is a brand new metric. You stop tracking your return on investment, and you start tracking your return on time. Every single $1,000 saved is essentially a month of future freedom quietly purchased in advance for yourself. Meanwhile, people like Marcus are playing a completely different game. A game they do not even realize they are losing, badly. He works 60 exhausting hours a week just to afford the monthly payments on the luxury car he drives to work. He is literally trading his irreplaceable, finite life force to pay interest on a piece of depreciating metal. When you finally truly internalize this concept, buying flashy, expensive things to impress strangers suddenly feels incredibly foolish. You look at a designer jacket or a brand new car, and you no longer see a price tag in dollars. You see 2 entire weeks of your freedom. 2 weeks of waking up early and sitting in traffic, and your freedom has become far too expensive to trade for a piece of metal. This is the 7th sign. You have quietly transitioned from being cash-rich to being completely time-rich. Because the absolute highest dividend money pays is complete control over your own calendar. But the 8th and final moment hits when this ultimate freedom suddenly forces you to make the absolute hardest choice of all. It is 11 at night. Your phone vibrates loudly on the table, breaking the silence. The caller ID flashes, "Cousin Marcus." You answer. The confident, loud, flashy cousin from the family dinners is completely gone. His voice is shaking, barely above a whisper. He is facing absolute bankruptcy. The luxury car is being repossessed, and he desperately needs a massive loan to survive. This is the ultimate test. The societal and family pressure to step in to play the savior is incredibly heavy. You look at your screen. You have the exact amount he needs sitting quietly in a boring, incredibly safe index fund. You could transfer the money right now. You could instantly buy his relief and win the entire family's loud applause. But you realize a harsh financial truth. Giving cash to someone with a massive spending problem is pouring water into a bottomless bucket. If his structural living expenses consistently exceed his income, a temporary bailout does not save him. It merely delays his inevitable crushing crash. So you close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and you say the absolute hardest word in the English language. No. He begs. He gets furious. He accuses you of being incredibly selfish and greedy. And then the line goes completely dead. You sit absolutely alone in the dark apartment. The silence is deafening, and the guilt stings sharply for a minute. But then the heavy guilt slowly starts to fade away. It is immediately replaced by a profound, incredibly unshakable clarity. You did not build your invisible financial fortress just to fund someone else's toxic, loud illusion of success. You built it to secure your absolute right to step away from their chaos. You set the phone face down. That is the 8th moment. The exact second you finally understand that true wealth is a silent shield, not a loud crutch. The morning after the hardest decision of your life. The apartment is completely, beautifully silent. Out of pure muscle memory, you reach for your phone to check your bank balance. A deeply ingrained survival reflex from the past. You think financial trauma completely disappears the moment you get rich. But the invisible ghost of the scarcity mindset haunts you for years. It is a deep psychological scar. Your brain is so intensely wired for survival that absolute peace actually feels incredibly uncomfortable at first. Not because you are broke, not because you are in danger, but because you simply forgot how to exist without constantly fighting. The entire modern world is perfectly designed to keep you fighting. Financial experts call it the brutal, endless moving goalpost of modern wealth. Society aggressively tells you that 1 million is no longer enough. You need 2, then 5, then 10, just to be truly safe. It is an exhausting, invisible treadmill. A bottomless bucket of desire that completely destroys the exact quiet peace you worked so hard to build. You look at that treadmill, take a slow, deep breath, and you deliberately, permanently choose to step off. You finally embrace the single most rebellious, powerful financial concept in modern existence. The profound concept of absolute, undeniable enough. Enough is not a mathematical equation or a strict spreadsheet. It is a firm, quiet, psychological boundary you draw against the world. You are no longer playing a poor character to hide your money from your relatives. You are simply living your actual life. The plain, unbranded sweater is no longer a clever disguise. It is just a comfortable piece of fabric that you genuinely prefer wearing. You realize the greatest transformation of stealth wealth isn't hiding from other people. It is finally stripping away the desperate need to impress anyone at all. The defensive mask falls away completely. You are finally, truly free. And that is exactly when the calendar flips back to the holidays. Exactly 1 year later. The familiar clinking of silverware, the warm light of the family dining room, everything looks exactly the same. Your aunt passes the potatoes and asks the exact same question. Still working at that same little job, making ends meet? Across the table sits Marcus. The flashy designer shirt is completely gone. He stares quietly at his plate, carrying a very real, heavy lesson. In the past, you would have felt the overwhelming urge to subtly hint at your success. You would have wanted to impress your aunt or save him. But this time, you do not reach into your pocket. You do not need to feel the cold edge of your phone to feel safe. Because the safety is not hiding in the bank account anymore. It is entirely wired into your psychology. You look up and you smile perfectly. You do not lie. You do not brag. You simply say, "I have absolutely everything I need, Auntie." The room accepts it smoothly. So what would happen if you actually told them the truth? You finally realize that the truth was never meant for their ears. True stealth wealth is not about building a massive vault of money to hide inside. It is about building a life you never want to escape. It is the profound, quiet realization that the only applause that actually matters is the absolute silence of your own mind. You take a slow sip of water. You are sitting at the exact same table, wearing the exact same plain sweater. But you are playing an entirely different game. A game where the only way to genuinely win is to realize there is no scoreboard. Money talks, wealth whispers, but true freedom is completely silent, and your silence has never felt more powerful. The characters and stories in this video are fictional and created for illustrative purposes, based on common financial situations, not real individuals. The content in this video is for entertainment and illustrative purposes about money psychology and is not investment or personal financial advice. Please do your own research or consult a licensed financial professional before making decisions.